Hello, and thank you for joining me. You're here with data science teacher Brandon, and today we're going to go over the Seaborn cat plot, category plot, and this really can help us kind of divide things by categories and inspect a little bit more detail. This cat plot is based on the facet grid, so it allows us to plot multiple plots together quite easily. So to look at the syntax here, so sns.catplot and so SNS is Seaborn, data equals df, standard Seaborn syntax. We're giving it access to the data frame. We said kind equals to strip, and this will change what plots inside of this cat plot, the facet grid. Okay, we're going to go mask first. We're going to do a numeric across the x and a category across the y. So Seaborn will separate then and group by this category on the y. So this is the basic way to use the cat plot, but we can use the col argument with Seaborn. So again, we're going to use kind. I'm going to change it to swarm. I think swarm's a little bit better in my opinion than the strip plot because it really highlights exactly where the data is used. There's a lot of bunching up and really overlap, and it's hard to see exactly where the data is lying. Here what we can do is we use a swarm plot and you can see the bunching up, but I also add in the column gender. So where it is separated on the y-axis by standard free reduced lunch, so you can see it groups by those categories, which is standard to Seaborn plotting. Put a category on an axis, it will group by that category. Here we also are doing now, we're separating the females and then the males. So we can see that the males and females, it actually has a slightly different, not so much, but I would say the ones that had the free reduced lunch, these two seem to show more difference than just this top kind of blob at the top. So it can be really interesting inspecting, especially with this swarm plot, how much we can get. So as we all know with Seaborn, we also have access to the hue argument, which allows us to change the color based on another category. So we're already grouping by the one category on the y-axis and another category across the columns. So we're separating it by those two plots by gender. We can also do hue test preparation course. So now it's going to change the colors of those two categories. And you can see really where, and really one thing you just notice very instantly is the ones that completed the test preparation, especially for the ones that ate the standard lunch and were male, they tended to be on the upper side of the distribution. The ones that didn't complete the test preparation, didn't eat a lunch or had a free lunch, tended to group. You see there's a lot more blue down here on the bottom side. It's not all blue, but we can see that there's a lot more grouping in that sense. And we really notice the swarm plot is a little bit busy, but it can be very valuable in finding these details. Okay. So another one, we wanted to generalize a little bit. I like the middle ground. Instead of the box plot, I like the boxenplot. It gives a little bit more texture than just the box plot. It's kind of a good middle ground between a histogram and a box plot. Okay? So doing the same thing, calling all the arguments the same, and we're just seeing we can do many more other types of arguments. Recommend looking at the documentation for all of them. You can do a standard box plot, but again, this is just grouping by. Instead of plotting in two different colors, it's just plotting them next to each other. We get a little generalization, but we can really see that inside this one that was kind of hidden, really the orange, we can notice that, but it's a lot more to the right. And we can see that in almost all the ones that did prepare for their course tended to do quite a bit better across the board. And so sometimes generalization can help us see things that might be missed when we're looking at so much detail like this swarm plot. We made some of those assumptions, but we missed a little bit of the generalization. We might have missed some of the big picture ideas. Okay. And so another good one to help confirm patterns is using the point plot. So this is a point estimation plot. And so really what this is doing is it's taking this, if we look at this blue and this blue, it's plotting those and it's giving an estimation of really where it's estimating the data kind of is, sort of thing. And this orange one here is measuring this one. So the big thing that we can really tell from this is that these are really, there's no overlap in where the points estimation plots, maybe a little bit over here. So we could say maybe the difference between free reduced lunch for males when they did or did not complete it, the difference is not so distinct. But for every other situation, test completed or not completed the preparation, it does create a good separation between these two. So this is just another way to inspect, really, is the difference that we're seeing substantial. Okay? So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.